So we may have a problem. I just pulled over right now. Gotta get back on the interstate here. So I was driving along and I heard a beeping sound. I was like, what the hell? And it was the beeping sound when your batteries are running low for the low voltage disconnect. So I looked down at my gauges and I only got 12 volts of power. And I'm entering Atlanta. So I pulled over, on the side of the shoulder where it was kind of wide. So I go look at the alternator, the belt's still on there. It's not hotter than usual. I get my multimeter out to test the amount of volts it's putting out, and it's putting 0 volts. So then I took the belt off, and then I turned the truck back on again to see if the alternator had any resistance on it, to see if it was getting power. An alternator needs power at the windings so that it could produce that magnetic field so that it produces power. And it didn't have no resistance at all. So, I had noticed that my batteries were usually lasting a little bit less, like when you're stopped. Like today, this morning, when I did my pre trip and stuff, it was at 14 volts, no problem. And it's fixing to get dark here. And that's when you use more voltage because you got, your lights and stuff you need to operate. So, what I did for the time being right now is, I wasn't really able to test anything. And I have an idea on maybe what might have happened. It might not even be the alternator at all, or it might be, but I'm gonna have to test it. Um, but just where I was at right there, I just didn't feel, like I was in the shoulder and stuff, but it wasn't really a super really wide shoulder. Here in Atlanta, they're not really that wide. So what I did is I just took the belt off for the time being right now, and I fired up my APU right now. So right now my APU is providing power. I just want to get to the west side of Atlanta, and I'll pull over at a truck stop where I'm nice and safe, and then I can, you know, troubleshoot further on maybe what the problem can be. And I normally carry an alternator here, and I actually do have an extra alternator here. However, that alternator has seized bearings in it because I'm an idiot and I just haven't taken it somewhere to replace the bearings. That alternator works really, really well still. It's just the bearing seized on it. So this was not showing signs of it being seized because I was able to spin the pulley.
Like, share, subscribe.
In case you were wondering, this is the reason why I hate Atlanta. All this traffic, man. Couldn't have happened in a worse moment. Golly. Telling you. Telling you. Well, I mean, the good thing is that I have an APU. If that ever happens to you guys, then you could just do that, guys. Well, I guess it also depends on the type of truck you have. If it's a one belt system or two belt system. On my truck, it has one belt for the alternator and AC, and then it has a separate belt for the fan belt. But usually, most trucks usually have two belts, or sometimes even have more belts. But just make sure you guys remove the belt, because if for whatever reason that alternator starts working again, you don't want the APU and the other alternator fighting each other to put in voltage. You can damage either one of the other ones. So that's the reason why I took the belt off, so that that wouldn't happen. So I'm gonna try to get over there. Right now it's keeping it at 12.9 volts. I mean, that's still below voltage, but a full battery, for anybody that doesn't know about batteries, is considered at 12.8 volts. So theoretically, the battery is at full capacity right now because it's charging it. Anything over 12.8, which a normal system will run at 14 or a little bit above, that 1.2 volts over is what charges up your battery. So it'll give you your consumption, and then it'll also give you your charging time. So right now, like, the alternator is just barely keeping up right now to be able to keep it active, but it'll be good enough to get us to where we need to be. And I have a theory that since we're not getting no power at the coils, they're not coils, they're trying to think right now. My brain's not working good as usual. But you know what I mean. The coils inside the alternator, they need to get power. I'm thinking the mega fuse block must have popped, and that's why it's not getting no battery voltage. However, that doesn't, I'm gonna test the fuse block. I'll show you guys when I'm doing that, when I'm actually stopped already. What I need to know is, why did it blow? Now, a lot of times these mega fuse blocks, that one's been on there for, I would probably say, a good 3, 4, or 5 years, something like that. It's been on there for a good while. They do degrade over time, so it might have just been that the fuse was going out. Luckily, I do carry those fuses in my truck. For those of you watching that have a newer truck than a 2010, like a 2015, 2016 Cascadia or whatever, on yours it'll be in the front by the firewall, right below where your brake pedal is at. It's called a PNDB box. That one also has mega fuses, but it's the mini ones. Mine has the bigger ones, the mega ones. I'll show you guys here in a minute, or it'll be a minute for you guys. It'll be like an hour for me. But I'm thinking that bad boy must have just blown out. I'm gonna go ahead and replace it if that's the case. Then I'm gonna go ahead and measure the voltage that the alternator is actually producing. If it's at or around 14 volts, then that means more than likely that was just the issue. But if it's throwing out anything more than 14 volts, like 16, 17, 18, 19 volts, somewhere around that range, then that means the rectifier on the alternator is bad. So I'm hoping at this point that it's just, that the fuse was just old and degraded, that it might have just blown out, because it was working perfectly fine up until before I hit Atlanta. Of course, it has to hit once I'm getting to Atlanta, and once it's dark when you need power. But, thank God I have my APU, and the APU is saving the day. One of these days, I'm going to give an overall review of the APU that I have, and you guys can compare it to the ones that you guys have and see what you guys like best or whatever. But for the time being right now, the APU is saving the day, because with this stupid traffic right here, I was already at 12 volts when that alarm went off, and I didn't even have my lights on. So with my lights on, it would have probably drove about maybe 0.2 volts. So I would probably be like at almost a dead battery. A dead battery is right around there, 11.8 or whatever. And the ECM needs to see a certain voltage, otherwise it'll just cut it off. And then I would be pretty much screwed at that point. I would be on the side of the road. If it wasn't for my APU right now, there would be absolutely no way that I could continue rolling right now. But, it's something that I really don't want to keep on, because obviously you're in motion, and those APUs are designed for when you're stationary. And not only that, but it's more fuel, you know what I mean? Like, it's what the truck is using plus what the APU is using. But for this particular case, this would be considered an emergency, because otherwise right now I would be on the side of the road without being able to move it. Because eventually, as you're rolling, it's going to continue using up that juice. in the battery, and it was gonna get to a point where the. All right, guys. So we made it here to Temple, Georgia. As you guys saw right now, it's running like at 13 volts or whatever. That's because the APU is running right now. So I'm gonna let this bad boy cool off a little bit before I turn it off. Do yourself a favor, guys. You know, I don't know if company drivers will do this or not, but definitely if it's your own truck and you're paying for repairs, you definitely want to take this into account. Don't just shut the truck off after you've been hauling for a while. If you actually read your owner's manual, you know, the basic one, let it idle for 5-10 minutes or so. Let it cool down those temperatures. Mainly the one that you want to cool down is your turbo bearings. You want to just get to the truck stop and shut the truck off. Let it run for 5-10 minutes with the engine fan off, cool it down a little bit, and then turn it off. So I'm going to go ahead and let that get done. I'm going to get tools and crap ready and see if we can figure this out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test for voltage here. If it's noisy, guys, I'm sorry. Just here's our multimeter right here. All right, 13.0 and nothing. So we're not getting no power. So this prong right here, that one's your low voltage disconnect. And that's also known as your remote sense wire, which basically just reads the battery voltage. And this boot stuff, this other one up here is supposed to have always voltage. So that one's connected to the battery. This one's showing voltage, this one is not showing voltage. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna test it to see if we have a short to ground. So we got our ground wire here. There's no continuity. Continuity just basically means that's an open circuit right there. When you put these two prongs together, you'll get a green light. That lets you know that there's continuity. So I tested these. These are your mega fuses. I went ahead and checked continuity on all of these. They all have power. These have power. But I think we definitely found our problem. As I was looking closer to the alternator, see if you guys can spot. No? Alright, I'll give you the answer. This thing broke. That's our problem right there. And that one's supposed to be on here. That's why it's not producing power, because it's not getting no power here. So I'm gonna have to try to, maybe I can drill that. We'll see right now. There you go. Ah, whew. Holy smokes. Come on. See if this bad boy fits now. Oh, it's got to be a little bit bigger. Let me get the other one, which is actually the correct size, but my the drill bit tip was not so great, you know what I mean? That's the best that I can think of right now. This is just to get me going, and I won't have to run the generator no more. And this is generally a pretty easy fix. you know. Like if I had the fitting, or if I had the the connector, it would generally be a pretty easy fix. But being that I don't have it, I have to just make it, you know. That's it. Just like that. Doesn't look pretty. It's not gonna seat 100% good, but right now what we're trying to do is just make it work so that we can get home, and once we get home, then I'll fix it correctly. Because right now I just don't have what I need to fix it correctly, you know. But I'll definitely get it fixed correctly with the right connector. So right now what I'm gonna do is, before I even put that on, I'm gonna put some tape, because a little bit of wire got exposed when I put this thing on. This thing. I'm gonna put this back on and hope that we're good. Man, just barely. Like, it's not gonna seat correctly. But right now, you know, like I said, I don't have the luxury of really messing with it. It's either that or call a road service repair guy. And you know what? That's not even going to work either. I'm not even going to put that on. I'm just going to tape it for the time being, just so that stuff doesn't just so that stuff doesn't touch anything and blow my fuse, you know. So it's just a temporary fix, you know. I'm just glad that it wasn't the alternator, because in that, I mean, first and foremost, all the Freightliners are closed right now, and second, I didn't want to spend $1,200 that I really don't have, you know, for repairs right now. You know, like I said, this truck has taken all my money. So I'm just glad that it was, you know, this, you know, as you guys get to know me, you guys are going to realize that I'm the type of guy that likes to fix things correctly. But unfortunately, right now, I just don't have the luxury of fixing it correctly because I don't have the part. Right now, all we're doing is just getting it good. And then once we get home, we'll fix it correctly. And that's it. And yes, when you guys start commenting again, you guys can comment on this. That's the reason why I don't have issues getting stuff off. Like I said, anything that's exposed, you want to be able to get to it. So let's put this thing back in here. Man, it barely gonna reach, man. Like, I actually have to like pull it a little bit, but well, we don't have much of a choice right now. I hope that holds. It should. I would think it should, but then again, it's trucks. Sometimes you just don't know. I know I'm all over the place with the camera, guys, but you know, I only have 2 hands, and I'm trying to get this stuff done because I still need to roll. I'm gonna get me something to eat right now. This for sure will fix the problem temporarily. And we should be good to go. Is that going in? Yeah, it's going in. Okay, good. Oh shit, I forgot that one. Damn it. Okay. Back up, Gabe. Back up. Calm down, brother. Calm down, my brother. Relax. Let's put that bad boy back on. That's the one for the OPS system. And like I said earlier, guys, I had noticed that my batteries were, I was like, I know it's not my batteries. I just had replaced them not too long ago. My truck has 8 batteries. It has 4 in the front for starting, and then it has the one when it had the APU on it, or not the APU. I'm sorry, it has that electronic APU. But the reason why I went ahead and put a regular APU on it is because it was more expensive to put the original part in there than to just get an APU. So I figured, you know what? If I'm already going to make the expense, I'm just going to go ahead and get an APU where I don't have to be worrying about battery charge or none of that stuff. You know, so that's what we did. Man, I don't want to over tighten this thing, but man, I really don't like the way that is. But like I said, I don't have a choice right now. I don't want to over tighten this thing, and then if this stud breaks off, I just cost myself $1,400 or $1,200 or whatever it is. That was back then when I bought it. Who knows how much it is now? You know, that's kind of feeling funny already. The last thing I want to do is break it. Man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm gonna try to put some tape on that. For the time being, it's just gonna have to be good enough. Maybe instead of putting tape, I'll put a zip tie around this. Oh my god. What a pain in the ass. I mean, normally it's supposed to be nice and flat, but I'm afraid that if I tighten up that any more than what it already is, it's just gonna break that stud off, and they ain't no fixing that. Can't just put another stud in there. At least not that I know of, right? Maybe it is possible, but not that I know of. So, like I said, I don't want to take the chance and break it, and then we're really, really, really gonna be in a huge bind. I'm just gonna put that like that. Put a zip tie around it, and I still got to put the belt back on, and hopefully we're good to go. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll work. It's probably going to make a little bit of false contact there, but what are you looking for, Gabe? The belt. Here's the wrench. What are you looking for, my friend? What do you need? Oh, zip ties. That's what we need. Trying to make videos and trying to do all this crap at the same time sometimes isn't all that easy, you know? So cut me some slack. Trying to give you guys entertainment. Hopefully the audio didn't cut off. It's the last time I did when I went inside the truck, so hopefully it didn't get cut off this time. Okay. Let's get handy dandies in. Zip ties. Come on. There we go. Oh, there we go. That's just to protect from touching anything else, but just shouldn't move. But you know, this wire is live, and I believe that wire is the one that you guys saw on the other side, the one that goes by the side. This one is not fused, so you can burn your truck down if it ain't correctly done. You know what I mean? And that seems pretty tight. Like I said, I just don't want to overdo it and then be in trouble, you know? Alright guys, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put the belt on. That's about the best picture I can get you right now at the moment. So let's go ahead and put that belt back on. If I had another person that's able to film for me, then you guys can get definitely a better picture of how to put this belt back on. But come on, get in there. Get in my belly. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, what am I missing? Let's see here. Okay, I know what I did wrong. Haven't taken this thing back. Haven't taken this thing off in a while. Yep, goes like that. Come on. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. All right. There we go. All right. Okay, guys, so there's the belt. As you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it. You see how it's kind of at an angle, but I can't get it straight because it has that little hump. But that should be enough tight to where it's good to go for the time being. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all my crap away, and I'll give you guys a report right now. Hey guys, so we finally got that done. I haven't turned the truck on yet right now because I figured I'm hungry. I need to get something to eat. Ooh yeah, spaghetti pasta that my wife made me at the house. I know she's watching, so thank you for that. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I much rather eat food from the house than eat food from the truck stop, you know? So, I didn't really catch that. Oh, crap. I didn't really catch that when I originally stopped because I was on the side of the road. So I just wanted to just get it going and get the heck out of there, you know? But once I started doing testing, you know, I did the testing on the fuses. They all had continuity. They all had power going to them. So it made me scratch my head a little bit. I went back up there and I retested it again. Still no power. And well, I was scratching my head, so I took a little bit closer look, you know, and that's when I noticed, aha, that thing is broken. I have the little piece right here. Look, this is what broke right here. See, that little ding dong goes in the thing, and so right now I had to drill a hole. There was just a little bit more enough piece to where I can drill it through. The problem is the studs like this, instead of it being flat like that, it's actually, let me show you with the fork. Instead of going in, it's like at an angle like this. But I didn't want to tighten up the bolt more because you break that bolt, you're buying a new alternator. You know, from my understanding, I don't know if you can fix that or not, because it's just a studded bolt and that's where the power comes up from. So I tightened it up to where it, you know, it's just, I can't move it. You know, it's not going to make the greatest contact, but you know, all we're trying to do is get to the house. I taped around it so it wouldn't move. I zip tied it so, you know, it's pretty much on there as best as I could, you know. You got to use what you got when you got it, you know, and that's why it's very important for you guys to get tools. All you owner-operators out there. I'm not a know-it-all or nothing, you know. Crap happens. But when you have tools and you have knowledge, you know, and you have the will to do it, it's not so much of a will. I had to do it. Otherwise, it's going to cost me money. You know, I had my multimeter, I had my tools, my drills, all that stuff. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have tools with me. You know, so I'm thankful for that. And man, oh man, you want to talk about the rock star today? That is definitely the APU. She earned her money today. If it wouldn't have been for that APU, I would have been screwed, because when that alarm went off, it only had 12 volts left. That's it, you know? And then you guys saw in that earlier clip, I was stuck in stupid Atlanta traffic like always. And, well, I really don't know if I would have made it. I know that there's a certain cutoff for the ECM. And, I mean, I know what it is. Probably have it written down somewhere. I just haven't really looked at it in a long time. But I think it's between 10.5 volts and 11.2 volts or something like that. But basically at that point your battery's dead, and then I got the lights on. I turned all my accessories off, and the APU could only keep up with it so much. It's not meant for that to happen, but it'll give it enough juice so that you can continue rolling. I mean, hell, I could have made it home all the way with just the APU, but I didn't really want to do that. It's not designed for that, because the alternator in the APU is only a 60 amp alternator, and the one that's on the truck right now, it's 275 amps. So that's a huge difference. Plus, my truck has 8 batteries. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. It has that electronic APU in the back, and I didn't fix it because it was going to be like 15, 16 grand to fix that AC in the back. The original one that came to the truck, the one that's electronic, and I said, hell, I could get an APU cheaper for that and charge my batteries, and I don't have to be worrying about charge, so that's what I did. And but that 60 amp alternator, like, it'll eventually get to 14 volts, but it just takes a while. Like right now when I turned it off, it was already like at 3.8 volts or something like that. I'm not sorry, 13.8 volts. So it was almost already all charged. I went ahead and left it on while I was troubleshooting. And so it charges up and we make sure we can start up, but talk about savior of the day. That APU mode not only keeps me warm and keeps me cool, and don't get me wrong, I had my fair share of issues with it, but matter of fact, before I started doing YouTube, maybe like 2 weeks prior to YouTube, my APU, the way it works is the inside is electronic. What I mean by electronic, it runs on AC power. It's just like the house, like when you connect something to the house. It's 120 volts AC. And the APU portion, the engine side of it, it has a generator. It's just like a generator where you connect stuff for tools and everything. Same thing. Well, the generator portion went out, so I wasn't getting no power in here, so I didn't have AC or anything, And that repair, so I ended up changing the generator. And then when I was already in there, I noticed that the radiator was leaking. So just in parts was $2 grand. And if you notice on my previous video, while I was talking about the different type of owner operators and stuff like that, I said it right there. Key points. My truck is paid for, and I know how to work on my truck. You got to bear in mind that the prices that I'm giving you, that's without no labor. That's me doing the work. Otherwise, I could easily be another $2,000-$3,000. If I had to call a guy up right now, road service, just for that little end, that cable end, and a service call, I guarantee you, it would have probably been at minimum $1,000. Plus having to wait there, on the side of the road, So, like right now, I fixed it. It's not permanent, but it'll work enough to at least get me to the house where I can fix it correctly. I'm not opposed on people giving it a band-aid, but what I can tell you is, and that advice, I'm just giving you advice. That's it. And you can do what you want. It's your business, your deal. Or for those of you that are thinking about it, or you don't know anything about the industry, just an advice. You always want to try to have, as many things in the truck as possible that might give you an issue. Parts and stuff like that, because when things like this happen, you're you're at the mercy of wherever you're at. I've said it many, many different times, because that's just the truth. You're at mercy at wherever you're at. But I mean, what can I say? I mean, all this stuff. I learned it over the years. Like I said, I'm not no expert, but I know quite a bit. And it's just by learning, doing research. A lot of times when I was brand new to owner operator in this truck, when I was learning about how the truck works, instead of messing around on my phone looking at YouTube or doing some other stupid stuff, playing video games or whatever, I would actually open up I bought the engine manual, the one for the engine, and I would just look through it, learn as much as I can, learn where the components are. There's a couple of troubleshooting procedures on there. And I said, one day it's gonna give me that problem. And at least when it gives me that problem, you're not all stressed out, because even though it doesn't seem like it, I was pretty stressed out. Because I was over here thinking, man, it's probably the alternator. But what made me not think about it being the alternator was the fact when I had the truck on and I took the belt off, and when I spin the pulley, it didn't give me no resistance at all. It just spins. So that was telling me that there was no power there. Even if it was throwing out a little bit of power, or if it was over voltage, it was going to be super hard where you can't even turn it. If it was under voltage, you were going to be able to turn it at least a little bit, but it was going to give you resistance. And if it was regular, it was going to be, a little bit more resistance. But it had zero resistance. And when I tested for power there at the side of the road, it had zero power. So, knowledge is power, guys. There's a lot of people that do what I'm doing right now. A lot of truck vloggers out there that are very good at what they do. They're out there on the road, and a lot of these guys work on their own truck, but like, you can learn a lot. I've learned a lot, on my own, and a couple of things here and there on YouTube. Like I've said before, there's been times where I'm doing a certain particular thing, and if I see that it could be done better, then I get it done there. So it works out pretty good. But sorry guys, but I'm eating. Hey, I'm keeping it real. That's what this channel is about. The rawness of what it is to be trucking in 2024 and beyond, to infinity and beyond. But it is what it is, guys. I'm being real. I'm eating my food right now, talking to myself. Everybody else is like, what the hell is this guy doing? That's why I put the headset on. Number one, so that you guys can get better audio. Because if I don't have this headset on, the truck engine will just make a crap load of noise, and it'll be hard to listen to me. Matter of fact, on the previous video, I think this thing disconnected, so I'm gonna have to try to fix the audio on that. And give you guys a little bit better audio. But with this thing, it'll keep me from looking insane, and gives you guys better audio. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's about it, man. I'm gonna make another video right now that I'm eating. I'll make another video on what I'm eating and why I'm eating it and stuff like that. Kind of give you guys a little bit of more insight to my life. Nothing special. I'm just a regular Joe, just like you guys. But it just made me think about something right now that it's actually tied to the trucking industry, and it's important. But I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. I don't want to be chewing up in your ear. I don't even know how it's gonna sound. I hope you can't hear me chewing a whole bunch. But I'm keeping it real, keeping it raw. I do edit, but I edit very, very little. Hey guys, so just giving you guys an update. So we're here in Monahans, Texas. It's the next day, or actually 2 more days or whatnot. So you guys saw that I previously fixed that wire going to the alternator, and I know it's not fixed correctly, but I had to do what I had to do to give it, make it work, So far it's been charging. She's been at no problems at all, 14.1. I was thinking about maybe incorporating the video on how to fix it, but it really just is simple, So I decided to just go ahead and leave it out. Because all it is just a cable. Take a piece off, you stick the ding dong in there, the connector. You get your crimper, crimp it, and put it back on. So it's not really a big deal. But that's the tool right there, and these are the fittings or the cable ends that I got. And I just got them online. I think the tool was like about $45 or whatnot, and I think the fittings were like about $30, but it's like a whole bunch of different ones. Like I went ahead and just bought an assortment, and also the tool crimps, up to like different sizes of cables and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that in the truck, because you never know, you know what I mean? Next time that happens, I have it here in the truck, and in all the years I've been driving, that's really never happened to me with the cable. And like for a battery or whatever, they're usually pretty durable, and they're pretty thick. I think it's a 2.0 gauge, if I'm not mistaken, which is a pretty thick cable. So yeah, so I ordered the tools. If you really think about it, if you add up both of them, I think I probably paid maybe like about $90 or whatever. But now I got the tool and a whole bunch of fittings, versus fixing it at a TA or whatever. Besides losing time, it was probably going to be about $100 for them to fix it for a little, $4 or $5 fitting or whatever it is. So I'm glad I did that. I made a mental note that I'm going to go ahead and take the other alternator that I have here. I need to find a repair shop. I know of one there where I live at, but they actually did the same thing on that one. So in other words, this would be the second time I'm fixing it. But the first time that I took it there, the bearings failed. And so they fixed it and they failed again. So I just think, that they're probably using crappy bearings. I know for a fact that particular place pretty much gets their parts from Mexico or sends them over to Mexico to get fixed. So I'm going to look for a different place. I'm sure I can find somebody else that can, not even rebuild. All I need is just the bearings, because the rectifier and the windings, all that stuff's still good. It's just the shaft won't spin. But it's worth fixing, because let's just say I pay $100 for them to install bearings or whatever. That alternator is like about $1,000, $1,200. Just depends on where you buy it. It's an expensive bad boy right there. Because it's a heavy duty one. It's 275 amps. So that's a lot. So yeah, right here we're just rolling away. She's still at 14.1, and I don't know what's been going on. I was telling my wife, matter of fact, today, I know that you guys have just barely started watching my videos, and it just seems like, man, like this guy, that truck's a piece of crap. It just breaks down all the time, because that's what most of my videos have been here lately. But the honest truth is, this truck's usually pretty good. I really don't have that many issues with it. It's just for some reason, ever since I started doing YouTube, like all this crap is happening, and it's just, the only difference is that now I'm actually like vlogging about it, And before any of you guys think, well, he's probably doing that on purpose to have videos. Number one, I'm not monetized. So I'm not even getting paid through YouTube to do this right now. And number two, hell no. I don't want this thing to be breaking for content. I'll figure out something else that we can make content with. There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about the trucking industry. And breakdowns is definitely not one of them that I want to be a part of that list. You know? But I don't know, man. For the last month and you know the beginning of this month, January, December, even November-ish, I was just getting a whole bunch of crap with the truck, man. Like, it just decided to just go into the new year giving me crap. But you know, I mean, before then, you know, I hadn't really given me any major issues, you know, besides the normal. Any owner operator out there that's watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know, a light bulb, you know, maybe a fan belt or something, you know, a hose clamp or a hose, or maybe a wire disconnected, you know, simple stuff like that, filling up your tires with air, you know. But as far as this major stuff, you know, stuff that costs thousands of dollars, you know, or hundreds of dollars, it hadn't been really giving me issues. It had been great. It's just all of a sudden in November and December and now January, it started, you know, doing all that stuff. But I wanted to give you guys an update on the charging situation. It's charging pretty good, and I'm happy about that right now. So I think my wife told me that yesterday I received the tool, and I think the fitting's probably coming this next Tuesday or whatever it is, Wednesday. I could always go buy one maybe at AutoZone, Napa, or whatever. They'll have them. And I'll just have the other ones there as backup. But there is still an issue that it's not really an issue with the truck. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, when you've been driving your truck for a while, you get to know it. You know what hurts. You know how it sounds like. You know when she's mad. You know when she's happy. Like, you get to know your truck. And again, what I've said this in the past, when it regens, it still has that like fluttering. You know, it's like you step on it and it's just like, and then it like starts going again. And it only does it when it's regenning. Now the regen system is working perfectly fine. All the sensors are reading correctly. It's regenning now, no problem. But I've been like breaking my head trying to think of like what it could be. You know, I tested the injectors. You know, they're all where they should be at. You know, so I think I'm gonna keep brainstorming on what the thing can be. You know, I think it's probably gonna be maybe fuel pressure. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. Check out the next video, and I'll let you guys know what I find. You all have a good day. Stay safe. Peace out. And I almost forgot the important part. She's definitely working now. 14.1 volts, baby. Yeah. Catch you guys out on the next one.